Wow.
What a time to be alive.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's been our reaction. On to the review. It's been what, 3 hours 45 minutes. Wow. Honestly, I don't know about you, Marcus, but that was sick.
Yeah,
that was
I feel a bit overwhelmed.
That was actually so sick. Like, I'm not even joking. That was such a fun experience. I think, like, I haven't had that kind of experience since seeing Endgame in the cinemas. And I would go ahead and say that this is probably up there for those experiences in terms of watching a movie. It's kind of like, I would actually compare it to the first time I watched Return of the King, first time I watched Endgame, and I would have to go ahead and say this viewing experience is probably up there. Okay, right. Okay, let's go down to the brass tacks. I mean, I'm still kind of hyped. I've still got goosebumps and shit, but firstly, I think we've said this throughout our reactions, but this is a vastly different film. It's so different from what we got with the theatrical cut. It's vastly superior. Now, is it automatically an amazing film? Is it a good film just from the Snyder Cut? What do you think?
I'm going to say yes. And here's why. And we've kind of said it throughout this reaction. There's character building. There's world building. There's a coherent story, which was none of these things existed in the original cut. It looked good. It felt good. Like the fact that you're saying that you compare some of the moments in this film to Endgame and especially Return of the King, because we're like back to Lord of the Rings. That's a very big statement. But it's like I was saying, at certain moments, all I could think of was like Rohirrim charging and stuff like that. And okay, like it's no secret, Seb and I are massive DC fanboys. So this is like our time to shine. This is why we're so hyped, you know, like as a lover of comic books, it is great to see characters that I grew up and I love brought to life. You know, in Whedon's cut, they were brought to life, sure, but they were done fucking dirty. Cyborg was done dirty. Flash was butchered, man. And I'm glad that they corrected all of these things in this film. I'm glad that it was much more. It just, oh man, I'm trying to like word it.
The main thing that you nailed and that we kind of mentioned earlier is it's now a character-driven story, as opposed to, you said this just now when you were like, Whedon made it into a almost mindless superhero film where they have to come together, fight a big bad guy. That's basically it. Whereas now we actually get individual storylines and individual character plot lines of Cyborg and his dad, Flash and his dad and his motivations. Lois Lane, Superman, like all of them got fleshed out. And I think this is what having that 4-hour runtime can definitely help for sure. Now, I understand, of course, 4 hours isn't really, you know, maybe as feasible for the theaters. But I've always debated that because I've always felt like, you know, I can watch a movie for 4 hours. Look, that didn't feel like 4 hours.
It didn't. And I would also argue that if you look back at some of, the older films, like Gone with the Wind, like, I mean, really classic films, if you look at films pre-60s, these things were long, man. 2 hours 30 was like a normal runtime minimum. So I refuse to believe that people would be up in arms. If this got released in a cinema, I would be there. I would be like, I am in. And I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will.
It would be like, you know, the old school like opera plays where you have an intermission. And that's what you need. Like,
and this is perfectly set up for it because there's parts. I would love to see this in a cinema. And honestly, I think it's a testament to the pacing and the storytelling that it did not feel like a 3 hour 45 film. I've sat here and I've just been like, this feels great. I never once like looked at how much fucking longer have I got to watch this or what time is it. I was drawn in. The characters drew me in, and
the performances were good as well. Like, I understand now why Ray Fisher was so upset because
done dirty,
he was the hero in many ways, he was the heart and soul and the hero of this movie, and yet they took all of that away, and he just became a background character.
Which makes no sense.
It's so dumb.
It makes no sense. You know, a lot of the things that were added into this film and fleshed out, and the alternate takes, etc. You kind of sit here, and throughout the whole of this film, we've been like, Whedon, what the fuck?
I think it'd be a very interesting. I think it'd be a very interesting educational process for a film editor or a film student to compare side by side the Whedon cut and the Snyder cut, because I think in the Snyder cut, like how long you hold a frame when you cut, when you edit, can manipulate the emotion and the feeling of the scene so much, and you can see that by lingering the camera on Cyborg's face or Flash's face or whoever's face can create that sense of like, oh, he's pensive, he's thinking, he's feeling. And yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but yeah, I feel like it would be a very interesting process.
That's a very good point. And, you know, let's be real, some of the slow-mo shots in this, man, money shots. Towards the end, when they all when Batman's in his car, and they're just like, whoa, and you're just like, whoa.
Like, oh my God, like that scene.
Man.
Yes, we've seen it in the Avengers and shit, blah, blah, blah. But honestly, it's moments like that are like, yes, bro. But okay. So there is one thing I would like to say. I don't think it's a perfect film.
No.
I think, you know, it's not suddenly automatically a 10 out of 10. I think there are still flaws with this film, which I'm going to go into now. And I think the main flaw is that they still tried to do too much in this one film. And I don't blame Snyder for this. I think, or it could have been Snyder, or it could have been Warner Brothers, most likely the latter, of them saying, we want to have this Justice League film now to compete with Marvel, as opposed to starting all the solo movies. This is something we've, you know, mentioned about with our gripes of DC for a long time, and I think it's still prevalent in this movie. Now, it could have been Snyder, but I doubt it. There was lots of storylines here, and there were certain scenes where I did feel was a little like, does it need to be in this film? I think, compare this to the Whedon cut. I think the Whedon cut was a lot more obvious, where it was crammed and it was like, This one, like you said, the pacing and the flow of it was really good, but still, there are still moments where I could have been like, that could have been saved for another film. For example, I would go ahead and say that the nightmare scenes, albeit nice, albeit cool, they also feel a little like they're there, but you know, they could have been taken out.
I would say the thing that irks me the most about this is the potential it sets up for the DC universe. I mean, and that works two ways. Like, half of me is like, it was amazing to see that, but the other half of me is like, we're probably not going to see it, which annoys me so much, especially because we know Zack Snyder's original vision was a trilogy, and I think that goes to your point of saying a lot is crammed into this film. And crammed is perhaps the wrong word. There's a lot of content in this film, and there are a lot of moments that allude to things that will never come, especially Darkseid being in the film. As awesome as that is, I now feel like I need a second film to actually bring closure, because this film doesn't actually give me closure when I think about it. It does the opposite. It presents opportunity.
But the thing is, it also doesn't feel too much like sequel bait either. I think like they did a really good job in wrapping up the Steppenwolf storyline, I feel. But most importantly, it almost feels as if Steppenwolf was like the secondary thing. Even Darkseid for me was a secondary thing. For me, this movie very much felt like fatherhood and family. That was almost like the main conflict. Cyborg realizing his purpose and accepting who he is. Flash as well, understanding that he can shape his own future. He can, you know, shape his own past. Ooh, Flash. Ooh. And I thought that was sick. And like, you know, and Aquaman realizing, oh, there is a world worth fighting for. Like at the very end, he's looking at Mira and he's like, oh, and you're like, okay. And it sets up his story in Aquaman. Now, obviously the story, but the James Wan film ended up being a little different from how Snyder would have wanted it probably, but still it sets up that.
Mm-hmm.
It also sets up Wonder Woman's sequel. Well, now we've got Wonder Woman 2, but I'm sure at the time it was different. And we got, Wonder Woman looking back with the arrow in her hand and being like, okay, I abandoned my sisters, something like that, blah, blah, blah. It would have been interesting to see, how they were going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was, like I said, it's a very character-driven story, and I really liked it. And I think we got nice, wrapping up of those individual storylines. But there's also like lots of teasing of what is to come. And like you said, it is unfortunate that we're most very unlikely to see, a sequel. It depends on the success of the Snyder Cut, which so far, from quickly looking at reviews and shit, it's been great.
It's slaying.
And we'll have to wait for a little bit to see the numbers and shit. Apparently HBO Max crashed. I'm looking at Twitter right now. Apparently it crashed just now. So
that makes sense.
But yeah, I personally think that Snyder should end on a high note and just like leave it at this.
Yeah.
Even though I would want to see more, I feel like he should just leave it at this.
I have a feeling he's going to take a break from superhero films anyway. Because I imagine this has been an exhausting experience for him.
For sure.
I mean, he did this for free.
And that end for Autumn, big up.
Yeah,
that was beautiful.
I think the power of a hashtag.
Oh yeah, nah. I mean, we need to thank the fans so much for it. Like, I mean, without them, and obviously without all the people rallying behind this one cause, we probably would never have seen this film. So I'm really just happy, and I'm sure everyone is just happy that Snyder got to share his real, true vision.
Exactly.
Can you think of any other flaws in this film? Certain CG moments were a little iffy,
but I can allow it. I mean, that's a given. I do have
one thing. I actually wasn't a big fan of the soundtrack. I think
Wonder Woman's theme was so annoying, man.
So here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. I feel like the score itself isn't bad. It's just not memorable. There's one theme where like the Justice League are rallying, like the triumphant theme. It's very inspiring, but I've already forgotten how it goes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, when it comes to a superhero film, you want the Batman like da 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 da. You want the Superman like dun, 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 dun. You want like Wonder Woman has her own theme, obviously, but then they not replaced it, but kind of like gave her a new motif of the.
Which and they play when you first hear it, you're like, that's cool.
Sick.
Like, add some
but
flavor.
Then every time
and
was a little annoying.
For that new motif to kind of supersede the awesome guitar, like it kind of
like we still got it. It's just and
it was a remix version as well.
Every time she showed up, it was I was like, oh god.
Yeah.
Also, I would say, I think Junkie XL is a good composer, but I don't think this is his best work, because the best moments of this film have been the Hans Zimmer moments.
Is that surprising though?
True. Flight from Man of Steel, Wonder Woman's theme, and then Junkie XL's bits. I can't think of anything that jumps out. Like, yes, you had I remember there was like a heavy metal kind of vibe to like when the Justice League were gearing up, but it felt I felt off. It felt like the choices of putting these certain cues was a little off. I feel like I don't know, I feel like they could have spent more time with that personally.
No, I'd agree with you. I think the soundtrack, as you said, is just not memorable. And
if this film had a banging soundtrack, it would have been genuine, in my opinion, a 9 out of 10.
It would elevate the moments even further. And we're not saying the moments weren't amazing, because they were. But honestly, the importance of music makes things 10 times more memorable. It makes you
think the portal
things,
scene
man.
Without the portal scene without the Avengers theme, Rohirrim without the Rohirrim theme. Like, it's less cool. It's still cool, but you're like, not as cool.
It just elevates the scene.
For sure. Like, music is so
I agree with you. I think the only real thing that is an issue in this film is the soundtrack was not as amazing as it could have been. But for that to only be the only real bad thing, you know?
I'm sure that there's definitely other moments where like it could have been better for sure.
Shoddy CGI. There was that moment where at the end where Darkseid's just chilling in the. You're just like, it's like you said. Why doesn't he just Omega Beam everyone or just step through? Because
I think
if he had stepped through and got involved, the mother boxes would have just completed the mission.
Yeah.
Unless he didn't want to step in because he would have got killed.
Also, I would say that I think this film is Snyder written all over it. His DNA is all over it, and I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. You know, I appreciate directors having a vision and sticking to it. I think this holds up with his best work. You know, it's like The Watchmen. It's like 300. It's got that same feel. And I
is
really
it better than Watchmen though?
I would say it's on par. But if I had to choose, I would still choose Watchmen.
Yeah,
because I think Watchmen's opening scene is like.
Oh.
But speaking of opening scenes, though, the first hour of this film, I shit you not, is perfect.
Yeah.
Like, compare this to the Whedon cut. It opens with the stupid iPhone footage and then Batman and Gotham looking like shit. Whereas here, it's firstly continues off where BVS ended.
Mm-hmm.
But what I really like is that it built lore, because we immediately go to Themyscira. We see more of Atlantis. We see the Amazons giving more of a shit, actually fighting to protect the box. That scene, me, was so sick.
It was so sick.
Like, the Amazons actually put up a fight. They actually tried. They
and then you've got the Atlanteans who are just like, there's like four guys just chilling.
And, you know, Steppenwolf, actual threat. There's actual stakes now.
People.
Like, that first hour sets up how big of a threat Steppenwolf is, how much the humanity is trying to stop him. Like, we actually got moments of the Amazons trying, the Atlanteans less so, but the flashback scene, the Age of Heroes, which was already cool in the original, was even cooler.
Ares stepping up and literally almost it just. Oh,
he should have gone for the head.
Yeah, he should have
gone for the head.
But Ares literally just making it look so simple for him to just casually like.
Also, showing shots of Mongolians, African tribes. It actually made it look like the humans were actually ganging together. And I think, again, this benefits from having 4 hours of runtime, and it's Snyder's way of, you know, telling the story and shit. But it feels so much more important now, you know? In Whedon's cut, it feels like everything is legit, like, oh yeah, he's getting a box.
Yeah,
it wasn't even Darkseid, it's fucking Steppenwolf. But yeah, he's getting a box or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Some people fought back, blah, blah, blah. Whereas this one, it's like Diana looking at the mural of Darkseid, feeling fear. The Amazons fighting for their lives and sacrificing like 100 of them. Atlanteans didn't give a fuck, but some of them tried.
They tried.
Age of Heroes flashback. Zeus, Ares, the Green Lantern that gets fucked up. Yeah. Hey, can we? Honestly,
he was a bit shit, that Green Lantern.
Firstly, he was ugly as fuck. I don't know why they designed him like that. Yeah. Secondly, he missed point blank.
He was
legit there, and he missed. I'm like, bro. But anyway, they tried.
Hey, we got Kilowog as well, though.
Oh yeah, Kilowog is interesting. Yeah. But yeah, you know, like, I think that first hour, wow. And the fact that we didn't, like, that first hour in the Snyder Cut, we hadn't even seen any of Whedon's first, like, hour. You know, I thought that was very interesting. You know, Amy Adams only came in, like, what, an hour and a half in.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I feel like every character got their moment to shine. You know, even Amy, like Lois Lane, she didn't have that much to do, but they also, you know, kept on reminding us that she is key to Superman. And, you know, she had her moment of doubt, and then Martian Manhunter comes in to inspire her. Boom, Martian Manhunter, that was cool.
That was
a little,
sick.
Like, shoehorned in, I do feel.
Yeah.
But why not?
Yeah. I mean, that's
Fuck
the thing.
it.
I mean, why not?
Fuck it.
It's nice to see him. It's a shame that. Well, I don't know if I don't know if we'll get more of him. I'm sure he will. It would be nice to get more of him. I don't know if that's really going to happen.
Iris
but
West
again, that's
was cool.
Iris West was but yeah. But I think that's one thing that kind of bugs me now that I think about it. Is just all of the potential this film represents. That I don't have faith in the DC film universe. I really don't, because it took 3-4 years for us to even get this, and Zack's kind of out anyway. So just kind of, like, look, James Wan's a great director. Check out our James Wan special podcast episode. But I don't know. Aquaman's storyline is aight, but he is not Superman. He is not Batman. I need someone like Zack Snyder to be like puppet master and curating this overarching story, very much like Kevin Feige does with Marvel. DC need a guy like Snyder who understands the universe, understands the characters, understands the lore. And this film shows that he understands all of those things.
Well, okay, now obviously there's a huge debate of like his kind of portrayal of the heroes versus the traditional one, like Batman killing people, blah, 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 Wonder Woman being sad. But the thing is, I like it.
Yeah.
I like that it's different from Marvel. I like that they're trying these things. And the thing is, I like that Snyder has always preferred telling the story of a hero that is weathered, a hero that is almost fed up. Like, we've got Aquaman, we've got Batman. These are aged and like, they've been through shit. I like that, that angle of a superhero story. Because yes, we love seeing heroes doing heroic things for sure. And I think Marvel, they've done really good at that. We saw, Luke Skywalker at the end of Mandalorian, albeit we weren't, too happy with that scene completely, but it was good to see Luke being a hero. We love seeing heroes being heroes, but we got that for sure in this film as well, with that epic final shot, blah, 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 and Superman being Superman. But I also like seeing heroes going through shit. And I think Aquaman exhibited that really well. He was legit like, fuck this shit the entire film. I thought that was nice. But yeah, I like that Snyder has a vision and he sticks to it. And I just really wish that Warner Brothers and DC just gave him the fucking opportunity to do his job. I think that's the main thing. They just gave him a task. He did the task. They didn't like the task, so they were like, fuck it. We're going to give up halfway. And you're like, just see it through. Just let him do his thing. And that's what annoys me so much. Because like you said, Kevin Feige had a task. He saw the task. He did the task. And he's still doing the task. And, there may have been some, falls. There may have been some up moments. But showing the faith in your creator and being like, you do your thing. It might be a huge failure. It might be a huge flaw. We might only be able to do it in 4 hours. But do your thing. You didn't get that chance. Now we've seen what his thing is like. Everyone is fucking loving it. So, I feel like Whedon, for sure, we don't really like him as a human being. But
he's a piece of shit.
Think, yes, he fucked up the film, but I think he's equally to blame to the producers and the executives.
Oh, for sure.
They fucked Snyder's vision. And I think that was
which is sad. Shit. I think as a director and a creative, the worst thing is when someone steps in on your vision and they're like, no, it's not my way.
Snyder needs time. Okay, here's the thing. I think you would like this film if you like Zack Snyder, basically. If you like Snyder's way of telling stories, which is slow and methodic. And yes, there's going to be 45 minutes worth of slow-mo.
That's all right with me.
There's going to be 2-song voiceovers. Yeah. That's just Snyder's signature, right? If you like and enjoy his films, you'll love this film. And, I think that's very easy to say. I feel like anyone who doesn't like Snyder's films will probably hate this film. And everyone who doesn't mind or like his films would like this film. I think, this film is, in my honest opinion, a piece of art. Well, all films are obviously arguably pieces of art, but I would say that this, it's got his signature on it. And honestly, it may not be the perfect film. I loved it. Every moment of this, I loved it. I enjoyed it. And I was happy and I was sad. Legit, there were moments of absolute madness in this film.
No, it made us feel good, man. And at the end of the day, that's what films are for, to make us feel a certain way. And throughout the whole of this film, I felt great.
Exactly.
I felt great. And that's, everyone needs a bit of that right now. But as a DC fan, That's all I've ever wanted. That's all I've ever asked for. And does it give me faith in the future of the DC film universe? No, because we basically need a Dave Filoni to come in and do what he did for Star Wars to the DC universe. But at the end of the day, this was so much fun. Seb and I were like losing our shit throughout pretty much the whole of the film. It looked good. The storytelling was on point. There were stakes. I felt a certain way. Soundtrack could have been better, but it doesn't matter. It wasn't a bad soundtrack by any means. The characters that we grew up on and we loved were represented in a way that I am totally cool with. Batman, being Batman, was still a badass. Superman. Okay, I gotta say though, you know how we were saying like, oh yeah, you know, Steppenwolf, the whole film kind of establishes how sick he is. And then you have Superman at the end.
Oh yeah.
Just come in.
Good. I think that's like...
And, no, but it's amazing.
Exactly.
Seb and I is like, Superman is the most ex machina character ever. But for the fact that he comes in and just like so easily dispatches Steppenwolf, it's great because it's the film creating this curve of expectation of like Steppenwolf is destroying everyone.
And he does too.
And it makes he that one Atlantean guy, man. Prayers. But the fact that all of this expectation is built, and then Superman's character comes in, and he's just like, "You want some? I'll give it you." And I love that. I mean, it was hype. The fact that he just went, and then his axe just, and you're just like, wow.
And he says, "Not okay." I did feel the not impressed.
Not impressed was
a little too much.
Yeah.
But why not? Like, the thing is, right, a Deus Ex Machina is obviously when it's unexpected, unset up, and it just randomly comes to save the day. The thing is, this was set up.
Yeah.
We all know Superman. And the thing is, even the movie in itself, everyone said, if Superman were here,
this would
be
be easy. Exactly.
He comes in and he does exactly that.
I mean, if Superman was there, Steppenwolf would have never have come in the first place because
true, exactly.
Darkseid would have come. Darkseid would have been like, we're the opponent. Let's go.
Like, the thing is, now I think it begs to... I guess, you know, if we're never going to see the sequels, there's no point. I don't know. We'll see. You never know. You know,
I had low expectations for this. I really did. And that's why I had the best time.
See, I had high expectations and they exceeded them. I'm not even joking. I genuinely thought we were going to get the same movie with, you know,
extra bits,
a little extra bits here and there. It would be basically like Lord of the Rings extended cut, where it does boost it, but it's not like it goes, you know, it's not like it changes it completely. But honestly, like, I watched this and was like, this is a different film. This is legit a different feeling, a different vibe, a different atmosphere. And I'm gonna go really quickly and like shotgun through some things that I really liked. I think, you know, Batman and Wonder Woman's chemistry. Wow. Also, I love that they touched hands. I've always shipped Batman and Wonder Woman, so that was a really good moment for me. I think Alfred, we got to see more of him,
which is always a positive.
We got to see Silas, and we got to see the mom, Cyborg's mom.
She was cut out of the film
entirely. She was a badass when she's in the headmaster's office.
It's just destroys that. Like,
what have you done, bro?
Yeah,
and you're
exactly.
like, boom, fuck yeah. That little scene where Cyborg is looking at the single mom, like, who's the waitress. That scene got me, dude. That scene, deep. I was legit like, deep. What the fuck? This is so sad.
I think it was just, you know, again, it's just, why would you cut that out? It establishes Cyborg's humanity.
Yeah, exactly. He's a good guy. And then Ryan Choi, of course, big up our Asian brother.
Yeah, boy.
I see why they cut him out, but like still, big up the brother.
Yeah.
Big up the brother. What else? More, the fight scenes was actually cool.
Yeah, fight scenes were sick. I mean,
okay, Mira's British accent was
I was literally about to say, like,
I was like, what the fuck is going on here? I don't understand.
Fuck Amber Heard, but seriously,
why? Justice for Johnny Depp, but yeah.
But why?
Why is she British?
And it's not even a good British accent.
Yeah, it was in and out.
It's a case of like, look, if you're gonna go for a British accent, hire a fucking English actor. And this is like coming from two guys who live in England. That was
weird. That was
fuck off. Like,
Jared Leto was good. I really liked interaction between him and
honestly,
Batman.
the line where he was like, "You don't send a boy to do a man's job," and it focused in on him. Oh,
Honestly, like that is classic Batman Joker interaction. Like that is exact. Like Joker knows
just killing joke
Batman,
vibe right there. Like
legit. Like that was written with knowledge of the lore of how their dynamic is. You need to really understand why Batman never kills the Joker, and Joker knows it. And that scene, that dialogue scene, perfect. Also, Jared Leto as Joker is nuts. He's actually crazy.
I think he might be the most unhinged depiction.
It's actually kind of creepy because like Joaquin Phoenix was like the sad but kind of like you pity him Joker. Heath Ledger was like the criminal mastermind but also like nihilist Joker.
Jack Nicholson was just the party vibe.
Jack Nicholson was Jack Nicholson Joker.
He was just 90s Joker.
and then
Ramiro was
the funny Joker.
He was funny. Joker. Well,
whereas
he was Joker with mustache.
Yeah. Whereas this one's legit just fucking nuts. This one is but actually nuts.
Jared Leto's Joker is kind of more the New 52 Joker. Yeah. Where he's genuinely insane.
And
I loved it.
I thought that was alright.
Man, he was terrifying.
Was pretty cool. Oh, mate, he was terrifying.
Yeah,
Deathstroke was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Saw a bit of Lex again.
Didn't see that much of him, but yeah, Lex was Lex.
Lex was Lex. It was good, man. It was good.
I kind of do wish that we saw the Green Lanterns instead of Martian Manhunter. But hey,
I mean, Zack Snyder apparently wanted to do it. He wanted to get John Stewart in. Warner Brothers said no. Apparently, he wanted Ryan Reynolds for a cameo.
Yeah, that would have been
fucking sick.
That would have been so interesting.
You know what would have been great though? Instead of having Kilowog dead, he could have had Ryan Reynolds dead. Can you imagine how sick that would have been? So fun. That would have been a great cameo. Like
that would have been so meta as well. Just like
I think Ryan Reynolds did like a watch through of Green Lantern recently.
Oh lol.
And like for the first time ever, and he live tweeted it.
But yeah, I think like final notes.
It was sick.
I fucking
8 out of 10.
That. I would say
it made me feel away, man.
I'm gonna need to like rewatch. I'm definitely gonna rewatch it again and again and again. That's the thing. It's got rewatchability.
Yeah.
It's 4 hours and it's still. It's been what, like 20 minutes since we finished the film. I already want to watch it again. Like that's how sick it was.
It made me feel away, dude. Like
I would say for me, it is an 8.2. An 8.2 out of 10. I would say it is the best DCEU film.
Oh, dude. Like, if you add all of the DC films together, it still doesn't equate to this film.
I would say, like, BVS Ultimate Edition for me is a 7, and I really enjoyed it. But I think this Snyder Cut is honestly, like, it's up there, man. It's fucking up there with, it's almost near Watchmen level for me. Now, how does it compare to Marvel? Because obviously people will compare it to Marvel.
Oh, this is where the fun begins.
I would actually go ahead and say that this is, in my opinion, it's not as probably as good as a complete story as Infinity War and Endgame. I would probably still rank those as being gold standard. I would say this is maybe below Thor Ragnarok, but above everything else. Now, I would actually go ahead and say that this is up there with some of the best comic book films.
I agree with you. I'm just trying to like in my head sift through all the Marvel films. See, I would say this is on par with Thor Ragnarok for me, which is also on par with Guardians 1.
I was going to say Guardians 1 would be up there.
All other Marvel films, bar like Infinity and Endgame, below. That's totally fine.
I would agree. I would say this is better than Guardians. Then again, it really is a very different experience.
It's very hard to compare.
It is apples to oranges.
We're only comparing because people will compare anyway.
I think that's the thing with Snyder is that he's established that this is an orange to Marvel's apple. Whereas when Snyder was kicked out, DC made it to be very Marvel-esque.
Well, that's why they brought Joss Whedon in.
And then that's when you were like, okay, now you can compare because this is trying to be Marvel-esque fame. Whereas this is so different to how a Marvel film feels, it actually becomes quite difficult to compare. Yeah. If you're only comparing it as a superhero film, then yes, that would probably be my ranking. It's an 8. It's below, Infinity War and Endgame, slightly below Ragnarok. That would be my ranking if I had to compare it to a Marvel film.
but you shouldn't be comparing this to a Marvel film because they're apples and oranges.
Mm.
I mean,
but I would go ahead and say the experience of watching this film
is on the level of Endgame for me.
It's on the level of Endgame. Like, this actually made me like,
Yeah.
Like, it was sick.
It's so just like, the only thing is, it is so hard to beat the end of Endgame. Like that one moment.
Sure. But that was like 10 years in the making. So,
yeah, exactly. And the fact that Snyder's managed to do this dude. Sick.
Yeah, I just really wish that we could get more of the Snyderverse, but we'll see.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I mean, Flashpoint's the next big one, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see.
Mate, how much do you want to bet they fuck it? How much do you want to bet they fuck it?
It's a very difficult story-line for them to do as well. So
let's be real, they'll fuck it.
Michael Keaton, that could be cool, but we'll see. I think hopefully this could potentially, I don't know, allow DC to at least get Snyder back as a consultant or something in that capacity. Because like right now he's technically producer for some of the films, but like
we know that doesn't always mean
that
anything.
He's legit gonna be like at the very back, be like, yes, and that's it. So maybe if they can get him to, overlook certain things, that'd be cool, but we'll see. But let us know in the comments below what you thought of the Snyder Cut.
Did you lose your fucking mind? Yes, you did.
Yeah. I mean, we certainly did. I mean, I'm actually like goosebumps in our breath. But anyway, I've been your boy, Seb.
And I've been Marcus. Thank you so much for watching this. Here comes the outer monologue. If you like this video, subscribe, like or dislike. Let us know what you thought in the comments below. We also do a podcast that'll be in the description. We do stuff weekly, I suppose. Yeah, that's it. I've been Marcus. He's been Seb. We've been Meanwhile. Goodbye.
Peace.